We begin with Simon Williams, founder of Williams Innovations, meeting with Tony Stark at Stark Industries. He explains that energy was their major initiative, but since Tony came out with the arc reactor technology, Williams Innovations don't have shit that could compete with it. With his company going under, Simon confronts Tony, who has been buying company shares. He begs Tony not to do it, claiming to have built his company from nothing and that it is all he has left. Tony then reveals that he became his company's majority shareholder 15 minutes ago, which shocked Simon. When Simon storms out of his office, Tony tries to stop him, trying to explain his side. After Simon left, Ant-Man emerged from the hard drive he was checking. He then criticizes Tony for being such an asshole, which he describes as callously disregarding another human being. Tony explains that he had a plan that even Ant-Man wouldn't understand. He then joked about how Wasp would understand what he would explain to her over dinner, so she could explain it to Ant-Man. At the Avengers mansion, Captain America struggles with having just awakened from a deep sleep. Jarvis informs him that a visitor has come to meet him, later revealed to be Director Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D., a peacekeeping organization. Nick asks Captain America to go with him, claiming to have saved something for him. He then takes him to a barber shop connected to a S.H.I.E.L.D. base underground. When Captain America confronts him, Fury takes him to see his motorcycle from the war. Fury explains that his father handed it down to him, claiming it to belong to Captain America. He claims his father was Sergeant Jack Fury, and Captain America saved his ass in the war. Fury has listened to all of his stories and has grown to idolize him. He then tells Captain America that S.H.I.E.L.D. will provide him with anything he needs. Despite Iron Man's warnings, Fury claims he can rely on him, especially when it counts. Ant-Man continues their discussion and claims that Tony values money and business over people. Tony takes it negatively, as if Ant-Man is judging him, and confronts him, having noticed the glaring ever since the breakout. He suspects that it's no longer about Simon, and that it is about Ultron. Ant-Man claims that the Ultron incident was when he realized Tony is a piece of shit. He explains that Tony approached him 5 years ago to help change the world by mapping a human mind onto a machine. He was later distraught when he discovered that it was all about making weapons and selling them to the military. Tony claims that he has changed, but Ant-Man explains that although he may no longer be making weapons, he is still hurting people like Simon Williams. After he meets with Tony, Simon meets with his brother Eric, otherwise known as the Criminal, the Grim Reaper. Desperate of not wanting to lose his company, he makes a deal with the Grim Reaper for power that will stop Tony Stark. Despite the bad blood between the brothers, Eric claims that he knows people who can help him get his revenge against Tony. They later drive into an abandoned warehouse where Eric claims they are the same people who made him his scythe. That said, he explains that they will be able to give him the power to destroy Tony and bury his company. When Simon hesitates, Eric reassures him and asks him to trust them. They are later greeted by none other than the leader of AIM, MODOK Ugly Ass. MODOK claims they can remake him into something even more powerful than Iron Man. When Simon worries that he won't be human anymore, MODOK reassures him that he will retain everything that makes him Simon Williams. Using the Zeta Beam will imbue him with ionic energy, giving him godlike powers at his disposal. He agrees to MODOK's proposal, claiming to have no choice left with Tony taking everything he cares about. While MODOK's drones prepare Simon, he explains to Eric that no one has survived the process. Eric claims that's life and asks MODOK to keep him posted should his brother survive. He then reminds him to update Strucker on the weapon he was paying him to create. MODOK claims that should there be an update, he will personally inform Baron Strucker. Meanwhile, Thor and Wasp interrupted a couple of AIM agents during a weapons deal. They chased after the enemy ship across the city but were nearly killed when the enemy fired their weapons at them that sucked them into a wormhole. Before it almost collapsed in on them, Thor used his thunder for them to break free. When Thor suggests calling the others, Wasp claims they'd only slow them down. Wasp asks Thor to destroy one of their thrusters with his hammer, but when he tries to chase after them, Wasp stops him. She suggests having them think they escaped when they will lead them to their secret base, to which Thor agrees. AIM agents return to their base, having been believed to have lost Thor and Wasp during the chase. They explain that a couple of Avengers interrupted them during a magia sale. Their supervisor was furious that they returned to their base with the Avengers chasing them. Out of nowhere, Wasp and Thor show up and knock them out. While Simon undergoes transformation, Wasp and Thor break into AIM headquarters and ridicule MODOK's ugly-ass appearance. MODOK claims he is the ultimate human-machine interface, designed only for conquest. Furious, MODOK blasts Thor with his mental bolt, but when AIM agents try to restrain him, he blows them away with a blast of his power. Wasp distracts MODOK, who inadvertently destroys the Zeta Beam. He was surprised that Simon survived the process and suspected that the mental bolt must have changed the algorithm. Before they could attack him, Simon flew out of the base, searching for Tony Stark. MODOK is thrilled to have successfully created a being of ionic energy. While Wasp knocks out the AIM agents, Thor handles MODOK himself but is powerless against his mental bolts. MODOK claims that not even the mind of a so-called immortal is much of shit against him. Wasp then destroys the device on MODOK's head that fires the mental bolt, to which Thor blasts him away with his hammer. MODOK claims defeat is unacceptable and activates the self-preservation subroutine. With it, MODOK escapes with his base, which turns out to be a ship, and flies into the air. If not for Thor, who protected her with his immortal body, Wasp nearly died from the explosion. While they are still arguing, Iron Man asks him what else he can do, to which Ant-Man claims he can try not being self-involved, selfish, and money-hungry. Iron Man claims that everything he does is to help people, but Ant-Man claims that everything he does is only to clean up a mess he made. Suddenly, they felt the ground shake from upstairs and discovered Simon had trashed Tony's office. Iron Man was surprised at Simon's transformation, but before he could talk, Simon grabbed him by the chest and tore his armor apart. Before Simon can kill Iron Man, Ant-Man arrives and tries to talk him down. Simon refuses to listen, so he punches Ant-Man away, giving him time for Iron Man to use his repulsor beam against him. Ant-Man suggests keeping Simon busy while Iron Man gets to safety. Iron Man refuses to leave him alone, but Ant-Man asks him to go and repair his armor. Before Simon pushes him against the window, Ant-Man asks the Avengers to assemble. Ant-Man grew into a giant and tried to restrain him, but Simon too grew large. Ant-Man was thrilled that Simon was capable of expanding his ionic energy. Ant-Man tries to talk him down, claiming that he is a creator and an inventor, not a destroyer, but Simon claims that he is what Tony forced him to become. Ant-Man claims that violence won't help anything and tells him that he can help him if he lets him. When Ant-Man finally gets through to Simon, Iron Man arrives and tries to contain him. Simon easily melted off the mechanical arm of Iron Man. Seeing Iron Man again, Simon's hatred returns, and the two fight it out. When he is about to finish Iron Man off, Captain America arrives and blocks his attacks. Ant-Man asks Iron Man and Captain America to stand down, claiming that they can talk things through when Simon's form is suddenly distorted. Iron Man claims that Simon's energy is destabilizing and that whatever he did to become this way is tearing him apart. Simon refuses to listen to him and throws Iron Man away. Iron Man asks Ant-Man to help him save Simon, with his ionic field becoming unstable by the minute. Ant-Man claims that they need something to contain the energy to stabilize it. Iron Man grabs Simon and flies towards the arc reactor, hoping it will save him. Simon breaks free, claiming that this power is all he has left. He breaks Iron Man's armor apart and picks him up. When he tries to punch him, his arm disintegrates and he falls. Iron Man tried to explain that the arc reactor could absorb his energy and keep him alive. Iron Man asks the Avengers to help him get Simon to the arc reactor, but Simon's body disintegrates before they can reach it. Iron Man claims that this was not what he wanted. He tried to explain to him that he bought Simon's company so he could save it. He realized the company wouldn't survive, but knew Simon had brilliant tech and development. He claims he wanted to work with him and save what he built. Later that night, Simon returns, shocked to discover that he is still alive. Enchantress used her magic to bring him back, and in exchange for his life, she asks him to join them in their pursuit of destroying the Avengers. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.